Buenos días, buenas tardes. Hoy vamos a aprender stem changing verbs in the present tense. So today we are going to learn about the stem changing verbs in the present tense, the ones that change from E to IE, O to UE, and E to I. For our next unit, we're only going to focus on the first group, which is E to IE. However, I decided to go ahead and make a video that has all of the stem changers in case you want to kind of look ahead and learn more of the stem changing verbs. We call these verbs the boot or shoe verbs. Okay. Stem changing verbs. Stem changing verbs are different from regular verbs because when you conjugate these verbs, not only do you change the endings, but you also change the stem, except for the nosotros form. Let's do a quick review. A verb has two parts, the stem, which is the beginning, and the ending. For example, look at the verb perder, to lose. P-E-R-D is the stem, and the ER is the ending. Okay? So the present of the verbs with the cambio E to IE. E to IE stem changing verbs in the present tense. In verbs that have an E to IE stem change, when you conjugate the verb, you change the E in the stem to IE in all forms except nosotros. Look at my example. I have the verb pensar, which means to think. And this is why they call it a boot verb. I know you can't really see the whole thing, but I draw a little boot around the ones that change, and the nosotros form, which no cambia, doesn't change, is left out. So it becomes pienso, E to IE, piensas, piensa, ellos, ellas, ustedes piensan, and nosotros stays the same, pensamos. Look at preferir, another one of the stem changing verbs from E to IE. Preferir, to prefer. Yo prefiero, tú prefieres, él, ella, usted prefiere, nosotros preferimos, y ellos, ellas, ustedes prefieren. Another one of my boot verbs. Everything that changes is in the boot. What doesn't change, which is nosotros, stays outside of the boot. Okay? Here are some examples of verbs that change from E to IE. Stem changing verbs in the present tense. Cerrar, to close. Comenzar, to begin. Empezar, to begin as well. Both mean the same. Pensar, to think. Entender, to understand. Perder, to lose. Querer, to want. Preferir, to prefer. Referir, to refer. And sentir, to feel or to regret. I also want to show you the verbs tener and venir. Tener, to have, and venir, to come, are also E to IE stem changing verbs, but these verbs have an irregular yo form. Watch what happens. Look at my verb tener, to have. This is how you guys use the word tener to express your age last unit. Por ejemplo, yo tengo 15 años was I am 15 years old. So yo tengo stays the same. Tú tienes, that E to IE stem change. Él, usted tiene. Nosotros tenemos, no cambia, no change here en tenemos. And you're going to find that to be a pattern in your nosotros form. And ellos, ellas, ustedes tienen. And guys, please, let me make sure you guys understand, and please don't forget your pronombres. Yo, I, tú, you, él, he, ella, she. Usted can be he or she, but it is formal. Nosotros, we. Ellos, ellas, I'm sorry, let me start again. Ellos is they, as in a group of boys and girls. Ellas is solamente, only girls. And ustedes we use as you all. Okay? Venir, to come. Yo vengo, tú vienes. Él, ella, usted viene. Nosotros venimos. Y ellos, ellas, ustedes vienen. I want you to notice something about this, the nosotros form for tenemos and for venimos. The nosotros form ending depends on the ER or IR ending of your verb. Look at tener. I don't have anything but an EMOS. However, when it came to venir, I changed it to IMOS. ¿Por qué? Why? There's an I in the ending of venir. Okay? So someone may ask, why are these not boot changing verbs, Senora Johnson? Because the boot wouldn't work because tener and tenemos would both be excluded from the boot. So guys, I want you to stop here if you are just looking at the E to IE. If you would like to go on, I'm going to show you these verbs as well. However, when I do the Nearpod, I will do the Nearpod where I have activities for each one of these sections. You will only be required to do the one from E to IE. Okay? Vamos a continuar con el presente de los verbos con el cambio O to UE. O to UE stem changing verbs in the present tense. In verbs that have an O to UE change, when you conjugate the verb, you change the O in the stem to UE in all forms except nosotros, just like before. Poder is to be able to. Okay? So now I'm going to change my vertical. Puedo, O to UE. Tú puedes, UE as well. Él e usted puede. Nosotros podemos. Y ellos, ellas, ustedes pueden. Look at my next verb. Encontrar is to meet or to find. To meet or to find. Yo encuentro. O to UE stem change. Tú encuentras. Él e usted encuentra. Nosotros encontramos. Y ellos, ellas, ustedes encuentran. Notice the boot around the verbs that change. Here are some more examples of verbs with the O to UE stem change in the present tense. Contar, to count. Encontrar is to meet or to find. Colgar is to hang. Costar is to cost. Poder is to be able to. Volver is to return. Llover is to rain. And dormir is to sleep. Awesome. Let's keep going, guys. So our next verbs that we're going to look at is the verb jugar. In the verb jugar, which means to play, the stem change is U to UE. Jugar, to play. Yo juego. Tú juegas. Él e usted juega. Look at that U to UE stem change. Nosotros jugamos. No cambio. No change there in nosotros. Y ellos, ellas, ustedes juegan. So look at my stem change from U to UE. Now, so we're going to look at the verbos that cambio from E to I. E to I stem changing verbs in the present tense. And verbs that have an E to I change, when you conjugate the verb, you change the E in the stem to I in all forms, except nosotros. So once again, we still have the boot where I'm going to change all of my verbs except the ones that are in nosotros form. Here's a good verb to use. Pedir is to ask for. Yo pido, tú pides, él e usted pide, nosotros pedimos, y ellos, ellas, ustedes piden. Okay? So notice I drew my boot around the ones that stem change, left out nosotros, because nosotros is a verb, is the form of the verb that does not change, and it is an IR verb, which was why I have IMOS. Okay. Another verbo, servir, to serve. Yo sirvo, y to I. Tú sirves, él, ella, usted sirve. Nosotros servimos, no cambio, no change, it's outside the boot. Y ellos, ellas, ustedes sirven. Here's some examples of E to IE stem changing verbs in the present tense. Pedir, to ask for or to order. Repetir is to repeat. Servir is to serve. Seguir is to follow or continue, and conseguir is to get. Okay. And notice where the E's are highlighted. So this is where I would change this one. I change in repetir. The I changes here. That second E, I know that one's kind of confusing, but it's in the second E only. Servir, conseguir, look at the E and the E there as well. Okay. So the verbs conseguir y conseguir, the verb seguir is to follow or to continue. Conseguir is to get. They are E to IE stem changing verbs, but these verbs have an irregular yo form. You drop the U in the yo form. Let me say that again. You drop the U in the yo form. Conseguir, to follow or continue. Look at my formas. Yo sigo, tú sigues, él e usted sigue, nosotros seguimos, y ellos, ellos, ustedes siguen. For conseguir, to get. Yo consigo, tú consigues, él y usted consigue, nosotros conseguimos, y ellos, ellas, ustedes consiguen. So, this is the end of my stem changing verbs in the present tense PowerPoint. Remember, if you have any questions or need more practice, por favor, let me know so I can help you. Gracias. Adiós.